is Misty. I'm a Kettlebell Sport athlete and coach. I'm the head coach of the Foundry Athletic Training Center here in Edmonton, Alberta, and also one of the creators of the Canadian Kettlebell Sport Union website. What that is just an information for articles and videos, anything kettlebell sport. I love kettlebell sport. It's a big part of my life, and it's really changed my life as an athlete in multiple sports. Caven, I'm also a wholesale distributor for Caven at Bells of Steel, little thing I painted back there. And he's a big supporter of kettlebell sport. He sells kettlebell sport bells. He's one of the few places that will distribute throughout Canada. And originally he was based out of Calgary, and we just hit it off, and we've been working together for a very long time. So, tips and tricks. This inspired me. One of his customers has some problems with the kettlebell and rust. Okay, so he had asked me about this, and I'm like, you know what? He's probably not the only one, or she, and there's a lot of other kettlebell issues. So we're going to do some video on some things that we do to prolong our lives of our kettlebells, or just to deal with some of the issues and talk about some of the equipment. Because we have a team that competes, and we use a lot of equipment, and we've tried it all. So, kettlebell rust. It doesn't matter what bell you have. You can have the Dragon's Door style. The big thick handle, they'll have some rust. They're made out of cast iron. And then you have the proline bells. I have different brands. I have the Volare, original Volares. I have Bells of Steel. I have the Volare Pro, the first version of the professional grade with the indent. And I have just some other local companies that basically the only difference is the crest, okay? The bells are all made in China. 99% of all the bells are made in China. They all come from different factories. They're all gonna have the same issues. There are some small differences in the bells. The Volare bells have sometimes a smaller handle. There's a Vulcan bell. I haven't been able to get any of those up here that have a very wider handle. The AKA uses them. A great bell on top of it. Again, it's just preference. Now, they were going to rust. They're made of steel. It's going to happen. It depends on where you live. If I lived in Ontario, they're going to rust like crazy because of the humidity. Or how much I use it. So if I'm sweaty, I don't clean them. I use water to put chalk on. You're going to find rust on the top of the bell. It's going to happen. The main bell body, it doesn't matter. You can always sand it down and paint them any color you want. But it's the handle what seems to concern some people. Not a big deal, okay? Because $3 at the Home Depot, it's belt sander stuff. Okay, belt sander. Stuff works like great, it's like $5. Okay, you can see we have multiple styles of it because not only do we use this to take rust off, we have to strip the chalk off every once in a while too. When we're getting ready for competition, we're stripping the chalk off every day that we do training. Okay, so there's 50, and that's the coarse grade, and then there's 80, then there's one in the hundreds, which is very, very fine, which gives you that fine stripping of the bell. Okay. 50 grade. I love the red stuff. They just come out with this to Home Depot. Love it. Okay, it is tough. And it's material, so it winds. Got this from Valery Fedorenko on the VF workout channel. Check it out on YouTube. It's a great, he's got workouts, and then he talks about chalking the bell. Excuse me, his way, he doesn't use water, probably because of big, strong hands, but this is where I got a lot of the ideas and stuff that we've kind of developed that makes it work for us and the bells that we own. So, I use a pan in our mats that you use outside. It does get a little dusty, so make sure you have an area that you want to clean up the dust. And I have water by, and then I always have a rag by too. So, rust on the bell. Okay, you can see it on my GoPro here. You can see I've already started to rip it. So, you can see the dust. You can wind it. A little bit of elbow grease never hurt anybody. It'll start stripping down the rust to where you want it. Some guys like to do this. I like to do a circular motion because that's the motion that always goes through my hand. Now, when I start stripping it though, I am going to keep wiping it. Okay? So I don't really want rust particles in my hands. Okay? My tetanus shot's up to date. But I coarse grind it first. So I coarse lift it off. I don't recommend using a tool because I've done it. It makes a heck of a mess. Then you use a finer sandpaper, so in the hundredths. So the higher the number means the finer the grit, which gets you a nice smooth. And that will give that nice smoothness. Also, we use sandpaper a lot when we get a brand new bell. Sometimes it'll have grease from the packing from China. So we'll have to grind that bell down so we can get some our hands on it, okay? Multiple uses in a gym. When some of the gyms have these prolines and everyone touches them, manhandles them, and they get this weird grease on them, we strip them down. Okay, I always have sandpaper in my gym bag, give it a little rough up. I prefer to use chalk for everything, just because it saves my hands because of the reps that we do. So it doesn't matter what type of bell you have. You don't want painted handles though. Okay, this is a fitness bell because this one has some chips on it. Okay, I don't want those in my hands, and it makes it very uncomfortable and can grip my hand. That's why you don't have a painted handle bell. There's some videos online, I found it through a blog, about how to strip paint off a handle. A horrible, horrible experience. So I never even buy a bell with paint. If I'm going to do sport training on it, long cycle, snatch, biathlon, multiple reps, you're talking hundreds of reps, not 10, sets of 10, multiple reps. Don't want the paint on it. Okay, it makes your hands really slippery. So that's your first kettlebell tip, trick, and review. We're going to talk about kettlebell maintenance and the difference of kettlebells, of the one-piece kettlebell to the kettlebells with the crest on it, because you're going to find these suckers come off after some use, which you're going to see like this. Okay, it kind of tells you the weird stuff that they put inside of it. This happens a lot. Really easy to repair, takes a couple hours of your day, not even that, to set it up and to dry. Takes a couple hours after that though. It's super easy to fix, so not a big deal if these things crust off. Everyone does. Everyone's do it. I don't care what brand they are. If they have a crust on it, they're going to break off eventually if you're hard on these bells. Okay, so Canadian Kettlebell Sport Union.com is our blog that we put stuff on. Put a question on there. Email us. Ask me a question. Misty, such and such bell does this. There's probably a good chance I've come across that issue. We're also going to be reviewing equipment, from shoes to the good old the guards. This has been a huge bane on a lot of people, but I have some my thoughts and the good and the bad in all the guards. I have my favorites in certain lifts, but there's a lot of great guards out there, and there's some bad ones, but it's what you want to invest in. So that'll probably be the next one, is these kettle shields. These are the Foundry ones. I've got them all. We're going to go through them and what we found, the issues that we've had with them or not had with them, of all the different guards. So sandpaper, grit. Send me your questions if you have any questions, or you can go to the Foundry Athletic Training Center on Facebook, or Bells of Steel on Facebook, and send Kevin an email, and he'll pass it on to me about answering your kettlebell sport questions. Thanks. We'll see you on the platform maybe.